something to scare you this Halloween season. Join us on Weekly Spooky. Every Wednesday, we bring you a new narrated horror story. Ghosts, murderers, monsters, and more. All await. Find us before we find you at weeklyspooky.com or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Be advised, mature content ahead. This podcast is brought to you ad-free thanks to the Legion of Demons at patreon.com/NOTLP. If you like what you hear, there's much more at patreon.com/NOTLP. Join the Legion. That's patreon.com/NOTLP. And now the show.
How do you do? Just a word of friendly warning. I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you. So if any of you feel that you do not care to subject your nerves to such a strain, now is your chance to, well, we've warned you.
Hey, babies. Welcome to Night of the Living Podcast.
Hi, babies.
Hi, baby.
Little
Hi.
babies.
Little baby.
There you go, baby.
Happy Halloween times, y'all. I'm Freddy. Amy's here. Kelley is here. Woo. And Andy's here.
Boo.
The fearsome foursome. But seriously, thank you for all the patrons out there supporting our show. Patreon.com/NOTLP. We just recorded the intro for episode 114 from 2008 during the housing and economic crisis. We were like, let's talk about Stephen King. Let's get out of our heads.
Good thing to do.
So if you're a patron, you can listen to that. Also, I am in the midst of editing a Night of the Comic video, which video editing is tedious. So it takes a little while to get those out. I need a houseboy who knows how to use Final Cut.
You need an editor. I don't know why it's a houseboy.
I'd like someone who also does windows and laundry and that stuff.
Yeah. I was thinking like
One-stop
the house
shopping.
boy from Boogie Nights. That throws fireworks everywhere.
Pretty much that. I want to live Alfred Molina's life from that movie.
What about a cabin boy?
A Chris Elliott type. But we'll be talking about Halloween specials. This one is jam-packed. We have Kelley's picks, which are Community Epidemiology, which is a Halloween episode from season 2, which is great.
It is.
Halloween is Grinch Night, which I had never seen before.
Me neither.
And then my picks were The Devil and Daniel Mouse and the ABC made-for-TV movie from 1985, The Midnight Hour, with a star-studded cast. Just wait till you hear. If you've never seen it.
Didn't we drop the damn Devil and Daniel Mouse?
No, oh, did we drop it?
I thought we did. And then Freddy's like, no.
Oh, Kelley, you replied and said that
Oh, my God.
we'll spend very, very brief amount of time on The Devil and Daniel Mouse.
It's fine.
But
I guess you're the only one that watched it. So.
Oh, am I the only one that watched it?
Well, I didn't watch it.
Oh,
Yeah,
Kelley.
I thought we dropped it, too.
I suggested...
I didn't watch it
Hold
because
up.
we said we dropped it.
I suggested dropping it, but then Kelley said, but I really like this lineup. And I said, okay, then we'll go ahead and do it.
No, I meant the lineup minus...
Oh!
We will not be talking about the Devil and Daniel Mouse.
I'm going to very
We'll save
quick,
it for next
because
year.
I've already written all of the
we'll talk
details
about
and
it.
tags and everything for this episode. I'm not redoing them.
It'll be just you, buddy.
The Devil and Daniel Mouse, very
Well, I
quickly.
watched it, too.
We'll get into that as part of the discussion. We'll spend maybe 5 minutes on it, but it's really a really good special.
Halloween special time can be confusing for us listeners.
Yes, it can be.
It's our special time.
We're juggling.
So special.
We're becoming ladies.
It's a shame you guys didn't see it because, Kelley, I know you would love it.
I was interested in it, but I also had the same thought as that was a lot.
It was a lot. It was a lot of stuff.
I really wanted to watch Midnight Hour.
Midnight Hour was my ride or die pick. And so I'm glad we're doing that one. But that'll probably where we'll spend a majority of our discussion time. Since we have such a big show, I didn't know if there was anything else that you guys wanted to include at the top.
I I watched. So we're watching some spooky things. I watched 1963's The Haunting for the first time last night.
Oh, have I seen that?
Oh yeah, I love that movie.
It's really great.
Yeah,
I would recommend.
I'm glad you liked it.
I feel like I'm finding, 70s horror. The 70s get a lot of credit for like busting horror open and kind of creating a lot of the grittiest and hardest hitting, or starting that trend. But I feel like actually a lot of these like early 60s black and white horror movies actually have a lot of great psychological tension building and supernatural shenanigans. I think it doesn't the 60s doesn't get as much credit for horror as it should.
And it really should. I mean, the 60s were, that's Manson.
Mm-hmm.
Shit was popping off.
I just saw a movie from around that era that I'd never seen that Dave Scarecrow recommended. Attack of the Mushroom People, which is something...
Oh, yeah, and share that. I would like to watch that for sure.
Yeah, I feel like down the road we should do a show about it. I had never... I don't think I'd ever even heard of it, but just based on the title, it's something I probably would have not bothered with just because it's such a silly title. But it's a great movie. It's really good. It's spooky, and it's the guy who did the original Godzilla directed it. And I would even, go so far to say that this is a better movie than Godzilla.
Really?
Just as a movie, like you know what I mean. You'll know what I mean when you see it, Kelley.
Yeah, I'll be interested to check it out.
Just from like a cinematography and storytelling standpoint.
You did not.
I feel like it's a better movie.
No, I get what he's. I mean, it definitely could be.
Yeah,
I'm interested.
Amy, did you watch it with Freddy?
No.
Okay, because I know you hate mushrooms.
I hate mushrooms.
I was cracking up because I was like, Amy would be safe in this situation because even if she was going to die, she wouldn't eat a mushroom.
Mm-mm.
So
unless they were the fun kind. Actually, I've never done that. I'm scared of that too.
But it's great. Very, very like 60s vibe to it. But it's also, I guess what I'm saying is Godzilla is iconic. You will never be like, the reason it's not Godzilla is because Godzilla is a one-of-a-kind creation.
Jeez.
This is just a kind of movie. It's a short story I think he adapted. But it's not that iconic kind of movie where he's doing anything new or that you haven't seen before like he did with Godzilla, but it's a great movie nonetheless.
We had a backyard hang the other night, and we had the projector set up, and we were like, let's watch a movie.
What'd you watch?
Return of the Living Dead.
Great movie.
My mom had never seen it, and she was over.
Yeah, originally we were going to watch the second one because we just wanted something light and stupid, but we realized that Mary Ellen had never seen it.
Yeah, and I think she liked it.
The first one, yeah.
You think so?
I think she had a good time. No, I know so.
Well,
unless she was just being nice.
Well, she made the comment. She said, when I was young, I never watched horror movies, but seeing that makes me wish I had.
Yeah, she did say that.
Yeah, that's
high praise.
High praise.
So we do this raffle for our mailing list subscribers where the winner of this raffle gets to pick one of our main attractions for the final episode of whatever series of podcasts we're doing. So
Raffle daffle.
Raffly daffly.
So if you want to sign up for our mailing list, go to notlp.com, scroll down till you see the Dracula stamp, and you sign up there. Whoever I pull from this drawing will be selecting a Halloween special to be part of our final. We have 4 episodes this month, regular episodes. In that 4th episode, you get to pick the main attraction, one of the main attractions for that Halloween special. All right. And our person is Shayna Reed.
Oh, Shayna!
Shayna!
We like Shayna. Shayna pops in on our Discord hangs.
Shayna!
And we know her in real life, too.
Yes.
That's right. She's
and her,
and
her brother and her mother.
We've gone to haunted houses together.
Yeah. Shayna, we'd like at least no more than an hour's worth of special.
Unless you're me, in which case I bombard them with 2 hours worth of stuff.
Because he an asshole.
Yeah, I'm a
white
bastard.
men, you know how they be.
The worst.
I'm speaking.
I'm speaking.
Freddie, I'm speaking.
So Shayna will reach out to you and let you know. That'll be fun.
It's awesome.
Hey, you go, Shayna.
You go, girl.
Nicely done. You played that well.
The pride of Dayton, Ohio. So I watched The Karate Kid for the first time this week.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought I had seen it, but watching it this time, I had only ever seen the end.
Oh, you had seen the end before?
Well, yeah, everybody's seen the end.
Is it because
you only know the crane kick?
Yeah, that's all I know. So, because I'm prepping to watch Cobra Kai, of course. So I had to watch that. And I just enjoyed the absolute crap out of
Such a great
Karate
movie.
Kid. So cute.
It really is a good movie. It holds up really well, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. I watched it not too many years ago, probably 2 or 3. Well, it's been more than that, but probably 4 or 5.
Okay. I need you to be as specific as possible.
It's been within the last decade.
Okay, I rewatched Karate Kid maybe last year or 2 years ago after seeing Gary Goldman's bit.
Yeah,
The Karate Kid.
Absolutely can defend.
Yes, can defend. So, Amy, what'd you think of it?
Oh, I thought it was great. The one thing I had an issue with is that Ralph Macchio looks so fucking young compared to Elizabeth Shue. Or I was like, girl,
That's
quit Cradle
true.
Robin.
Which is funny though, I think because she was probably younger.
She
than him.
was. He was
Yeah.
like in the early 20s or something, and she was like a couple years younger than him. And I'm like, that is just crazy.
She
But the
always
great
looked...
thing-
yeah.
Oh, you go ahead because then I was going to say.
I was just going to say she came out an adult.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Elizabeth Shue, the thing about Elizabeth Shue is she looked like an adult, not old, but even in Adventures in Babysitting and whatnot, she looked like a grown-up person, but she looked young forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, even though she looked like a young adult when she was a kid, she looked like a young adult well into us being old adults.
Yes.
Yeah, like
Correct.
she's very youthful still.
Yes.
It evens out.
Yeah, she's she looks basically the same because she was on The Boys season 1 recently.
So
And she
good.
was really good in that.
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
awesome.
Treasure.
Yeah, we're gonna bully you into watching The Boys, Freddy, Kelley.
Libby Shue. I want to watch it. I'm gonna watch it.
I need
even
to
said
watch
the
it,
other day,
too.
I was like, we really should watch The Boys. I
It's
just
so
haven't-
good.
I owe that to Carl Urban's face.
We're on Schitt's Creek and still burn notice right now. So
Yeah. So, Freddy and Amy, when are you guys gonna jump into Cobra Kai? Pretty soon,
Well, we're
One of
debating
these
on.
days.
Yeah, we'll see.
or do you need to watch Karate Kid Part 2 first?
Well, Freddie told me I didn't have to watch part 2, which I think I
Part
have
2 is
actually seen
awesome.
part 2.
I do like part 2. I told Amy, I said, if you're gonna watch the Karate Kid stuff, just watch the first 2 movies.
Yeah.
And then we can move on to the show. 3
Okay.
is a bummer. 3 shouldn't exist.
yeah, fuck 3.
I don't remember the new Karate Kid with Hilary Swank too well.
I don't think I ever saw that one, and the Jaden Smith one, it was inoffensive but unmemorable.
Yeah, it was decent. I liked the Jaden Smith one, but it's like it didn't have the magic of the original. No way.
No, but 2 I love, man. Not as well, obviously. It's sort of like the one I don't love, Jaws 2, but it is sort of Karate Kid 2 is like the Jaws 2. It's not a bad movie, and I actually really like it. But it is sort of a cheaper.
I compare it to
feel,
how I feel
even though
about
they go to Okinawa.
Yeah. I compare it how I feel about Gremlins 2 and Gremlins 1.
Yeah.
It's like I know that Gremlins is a better movie than Gremlins 2, but I have more affection for Gremlins 2 than Gremlins.
Is that how you feel about the Karate Kid Part 2?
Yeah. I like.
Is it because of the girl screaming during the hurricane when he's going up?
No spoilers, guy.
I'll be okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember the video game for Nintendo?
No.
It was fantastic. You had to catch the fly with the chopsticks. You had to break. Remember, you had to break the ice. Remember when you did that?
I don't, because I didn't play it.
I mean, you remember in the movie when he had to do it in the bar in Okinawa?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that's what I meant. You do the stuff that Daniel San does on Okinawa in the game.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
So, Amy, did you understand? You know all the memes about Mike Pence's fly head?
So my mom sent me one of those, and I was like, oh my God, I just watched The Karate Kid. I totes get this now.
Oh, synergy.
I know, right?
It's weird how it all comes together.
It's very adorable.
Am I forgetting anything for the open? We cover everything. We good?
Oh, ever since everybody's naming what they watched, I watched my first Adam Sandler movie.
Oh, yeah.
Hubie Halloween.
Did you like it? I really want to watch it.
Oh.
I'm probably not the person to ask.
I got you. I do love Adam Sandler.
Isn't that crazy that Andy, like, I don't really like Adam Sandler at all, but I've seen Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison, but Andy's like, I've never seen those. He's never seen those.
I may have, but it's literally been so long since I may have seen them that I don't remember.
I feel like you'd remember unless you just saw them long after they came out. And
I don't. It came out in like the 90s, so and I'm 40 now. So if I saw them
if I was gonna recommend an Adam Sandler movie to Andy, I would recommend Happy Gilmore. I don't think you'll like Billy Madison because it is a lot of weird for the sake of weird.
Okay, well, judging on Hubie Halloween, if it's indicative of Adam Sandler movies, then I kind of don't want to watch any of it.
I gotcha. I'm going to have to jump into it. The trailer does look like classic Adam Sandler.
It was just a confusing movie to me.
Wait, would you say that it's similar to Boo 2, the Medea Halloween movie we saw?
Okay, here's the thing. Probably, there were times I was laughing, but I don't know if I was laughing because I was having a good time or enjoying the jokes.
Or you had Stockholm Syndrome?
Or I was laughing because I was like, what the fuck am I watching?
Sometimes I think that's the point.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that probably is the point of Adam Sandler movies because I don't think I could tell you the plot of this movie.
Maybe you need to be high.
There you go.
It's more of an excuse to see Adam Sandler do his capering.
Yeah.
Basically.
His capering.
Well, that's all an Adam Sandler movie is.
All of his japes.
So if you're into that, him screaming, I guess, and not looking for a plot.
If you're into Adam Sandler screaming.
If
I got a movie for you.
I super am too. I can't wait. I'm very excited to watch this. I've been saving it
for marriage.
I've been saving it for.
Well, I just want to give you an example. There's just like tertiary characters, this married couple, and they just bicker all the time, and they just have awful jokes where like, well, your mama farts so much that we had to change the shower curtain. Well, it's something along the lines of that. It's not word for word.
Or it better not be.
Because there's like, because she sprayed shit all over it.
Something like that. And it's just like, remember that time your fat ass sat down and broke the furniture? And that was the joke.
So it is like Boo too.
Yeah, that they're so fat that they broke furniture.
You remember? What is that? That's the floor creaking under your face.
But we're laughing about it right
now. It's
funny. But these characters have no point except just to have
to bring you joy, Andy, jokes. And you don't want it. You're like, I reject your joy.
Okay, but is it genuine joy or am I laughing?
You're thinking too much.
He has specific joy needs.
Andy, you need to put a plastic bag tightly over your head. Leave it there for maybe 30 seconds to a minute until you just kill enough brain cells that you can accept joy.
So, is that how they're going to find my body?
With Hubie Halloween on repeat.
Netflix is like, are you still watching?
You're going to write a note. Hubie Halloween killed me.
Yeah. It's like, what was that internet meme for a while that had the big eyes and it was telling kids to like cut themselves and stuff?
Oh, Momo.
Hubie Halloween's the Momo of 2020.
Okay.
You need to go to your mom and dad's medicine cabinet. That's a terrible Adam Sandler, sorry.
But there were times I genuinely laughed. But buried underneath the genuine laughs was
pain.
Shame.
Yeah.
Pain and shame.
Yeah. So maybe I will eventually watch like Happy Madison or Billy Gilmore.
Billy Madison.
I would start with Happy Gilmore for you. It is
Happy Gilmore, okay.
Yeah. It's goofy and weird too, but like I feel like it's also a pretty decent like sports comedy movie. And it's I feel like of the Adam Sandler movies, of the good ones, one of the more like linear ones. Mm-hmm. So that might be where your true litmus test lies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you hate Adam Sandler movies, you will know.
I don't want to stretch this point out too much, but what kind of character is he supposed to be playing in these movies?
A lovable simpleton.
Are we laughing at him or with him?
We're supposed to, like, at first you're laughing at him, but you also love him because he's a good person and you support him and you want him to succeed.
Okay.
Andy's like, explain comedy. Would you say it's subjectively funny or objectively funny?
Like, I can take in...
You've seen White Chicks. Like,
genuine
compare
joy.
QB Halloween to White Chicks.
I'm just trying to figure out why other people like him so much.
They don't.
Just like
People are
somebody that
different.
makes silly noises and who makes silly faces and kind of runs around.
He's
and
easy.
He's also
sweet.
become a punching bag, though, in a lot of respects. Like, I feel like he's
But
a
I can see
magnet.
why.
Yeah, I understand.
about-
I understand why it happened to Jerry Lewis. The same exact thing, where he came out, became this superstar, and then people were like, "Why? These movies are ridiculous," and that's okay. They can be. We need ridiculous shit in this world.
Like this show that you're listening to right now.
He clearly, both of them were clearly capable of intelligent, complex work, like in film. Like Adam Sandler's proven that a few times now. It's just he likes making stupid shit. He gets his jollies that way, and I kind of respect that.
But I don't think I'm above that stupid shit because I make stupid jokes all the time.
Oh my God, Andy, you do remember what's Rihanna's favorite Donato's pizza? The works. That was your joke.
I know. I like you set him up, and Andy just stared at you like, "What is it?"
No. I thought you were going to say it. I didn't want to say
It's
the
your
punchline.
joke, Andy. It's your joke. You own it.
Well, anyway.
And let's
like,
be clear, it was a good joke.
So I'm not trying to portray myself as a sophisticated, like David Sedaris humor type person. I'm dumb as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
But I think
Nobody argued with Andy. You're not dumb as fuck.
But
He's
I'm
capable
just
of enjoying dumb humor.
Even
Yeah.
for me, I think Adam Sandler's a little step below me.
Well, it's juvenile. It's not. I honestly think like he's like, I'm going to keep
All right.
making movies for 15-year-old Adam Sandler just to keep that part of me alive.
At the end of the day,
I don't think he does it for
Andy
anyone but
doesn't-
himself.
doesn't enjoy it. I don't enjoy it.
Oh,
You
no.
do.
I'm not about convincing anybody
And
to like it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, Grown Ups was one of the worst things I've ever seen. Like
agree
most,
with that.
I don't like most Adam Sandler movies. I like a handful of them. But I respect, it's the same with Kevin Smith. I respect the gig that they've created for themselves more so than I respect the work.
I actually like quite a few Adam Sandler movies. There are ones I do like and ones I don't like. I agree with you. I cannot stand Grown Ups. I don't like either of the Grown Ups movies, or I never even bothered with Jack and Jill. I knew that was going to be garbage.
That's like an astounding kind of level of garbage that I feel like we almost have to see it.
Yeah, one like I didn't like Little Nicky. Big Daddy it's one of the ones people really like his that I actually didn't. It wasn't silly enough for me.
Yeah, they attempted to go. That's where he
sweet.
tried to correct to what we've been talking about, where he's like, let's make him more human and relatable in this movie.
How much time are we going to spend on it?
I don't know. I remember saying we're going to do a real quick intro.
How I feel about Mr. Deeds, which I love,
Yeah.
and it's a maligned movie.
Yeah. So let's just say that Adam Sandler, not for me, but I don't begrudge you for liking Adam Sandler.
Yes.
It's like, do we have anything else for the top? Adam Sandler's career. Real quick.
Real quick.
Adam Sandler's 30-plus year career in film and comedy. Can we just do it real quick?
Let's inside the actor's studio, Adam Sandler, but without him. Let's
Right.
each of us do that Bob Dylan movie thing where we each
We'll inhabit.
portray our
Yeah.
version of Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
But, I say good for Adam Sandler. He's getting his coins,
Yeah.
It's true.
Get your coins. Like
I
the
like
young
movie
children
he did a few
say.
years ago, the Blended
badge.
Family movie. That was fun.
The what?
The one he did with Drew Barrymore a few years ago, the Blended Family, where they go on
I
vacation.
didn't even know that existed.
It's not well liked or remembered, but I saw it at the drive-in with something else, and I thought it was cute. I laughed a lot.
Well, good for you.
So
I laughed a lot at Larry the Cable Guy, health inspector. So I really can't judge anyone about anything ever again. Anyways, we'll be right back.
Hello, boys and girls. It's time for Straight-to-Video Russian Roulette.
I don't want them here.
They're your nieces. The best thing for them is to be with family.
There are some rules you'll need to follow. This door leads to the basement. It stays locked at all times.
I saw Mom.
Where?
In the basement.
Don't you know I love you? Don't you know I do? Don't you know
Mommy?
I am
Is that you? Mirror, mirror. Open wide. Let the spirit come inside. Mirror, mirror. Open wide. Let the spirit come inside. Mirror, mirror. Open wide. Let the spirit come inside. I want to get it out. I want to get it out.
There could be no me without you.
Yeah. One more jump scare at the end. Let me tell you.
In cinemas.
That really gives it like a sense of like clout and class.
Oh, sure. In cinemas.
20 off.
This movie was a slog. Not a recommend.
It looks like a slog.
It just was. It had real pacing issues, and it was silly. Everybody was doing their best, but their best just wasn't good enough for me.
I get my birds.
But I will say there's a very interesting fact about this movie. I was looking up the cast on IMDb. The woman who plays, okay, so it's like these two little girls. This is the story. Two little girls. Their mom dies. Dad's out of the country, so they go stay with their aunt. But their aunt's kind of a bitch and is like, if you're going to stay here, you stay in your room and you don't come out after 10 and you don't go into the basement and you don't go into my study.
You can play the Xbox, but not the Xbox One X.
Right. Like, that was Freddy's joke during the movie.
Because she's an older lady and it was odd.
And then you find out later that there's like a demon living in the mirrors and it wants to get out and this little girl lets it out. Anyway, doesn't matter because it's not that interesting. But the woman who plays the aunt is the woman from, do you guys remember Abducted in Plain Sight, that documentary about...
Oh, yes.
How could you forget?
Like, it took the world by storm when it came out because it's about the family that was like the mom and the dad were sleeping with the child molester and the child molester was and kidnapped
him off. And he said, hey, come on, just do it. It's just like kid stuff. So I did it.
Yeah. Like this guy like completely...
That seemed like so long ago.
Ruined that entire family.
He was like the villain from Jessica Jones season 1 that David Tennant played.
That family wanted to be fucked by that dude, except for the little girl.
Except for the little girl. Now the little girl
he was the Tiger King of his time.
Exactly. Yeah. The little girl he kidnapped twice and was trying and molested and stuff is a woman who plays the aunt in this movie. So
Hasn't she suffered enough?
Right. It just feels unfair. That but she did a great job with not a lot. It's just so boring.
Great job.
I don't know. I don't want to. She had a hard life.
She did a job.
She's no Adam Sandler.
Let's break down her career now.
So Behind You is the name of this movie. If I should probably say that. We saw it on Hulu. I don't know. It was just real.
Why is it called Behind You?
Okay, because
look behind you and find out, Andy.
Yeah, look behind you.
There it is.
They can only see the demon thing in mirrors, so they can see it behind them. I guess. And they can only hurt it with mirrors because it gets stuck in between worlds. They can't see it, but if they can see it in the mirror, they can find out where it is and stab it with a piece of the mirror, and that'll hurt it.
Oh my God.
Hollywood.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, when did Hollywood decide that demons just look like old ladies with long stringy hair?
Right.
That's sexist.
What if it's just the way they look?
What
if they know something we don't know? You know?
They might.
They made dark deals to get those kinds of lifestyles of the rich and famous.
The darkest of deals.
Yeah, there's some Batman level leaps of logic on the part of the aunt who is set up as the villain, but ultimately is also a victim / heroic character.
Herself. Whatever. Too many blondes in this movie. Everybody's
so
blonde.
The trailer looks to me like one of those movies where it's a bunch of people with a concept. They're like, it's mirrors are scary. Like, it's like, you go, when you go through your house at night and you're like, I don't want to look in the mirror. What if there's something in there? Because it's dark. And then like little girls are, and then somebody's like, little girls are creepy.
Yeah.
Like, let's, like Bloody Mary. And there's a bunch of like kind of ideas, but no one knows how to tell a story.
Like I picked this movie because I was like, oh, well, I liked Oculus, and that movie Mirrors with Kiefer wasn't terrible.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Okay.
It shouldn't have been. It was Alexander Aja.
I like Mirrors as a scary concept because I am the exact thing that you just described, Kelley. If I'm walking through my house at night and I pass the mirror in the living room, I'm like, ooh, creepy.
I get the appeal, but I feel like that I'm going to say something that's going to sound terrible.
Okay.
It feels like a real basic idea kind of movie.
It's basic,
like,
bitch.
Yeah, it looked real basic.
And it just had pacing problems. Boring.
Well, that's a storytelling thing. If you don't know how to tell a story, pacing is going to be a big problem.
3 endings, and at one point, I believe I said near the end, like the audacity of this movie to continue.
How dare you?
I feel like these movies are written by people who think they can make a movie because they like movies.
Yeah.
How hard can it be?
You know what I mean, though?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I see a lot of movies where it's like someone thinks they can do something because they like that thing.
Yeah.
But not everyone is meant to do that thing.
Right. I feel that way. Like when I watch a movie like this, I'm like, this is basically, if I spent a year of my life making a movie, this is the disappointing product that would come out the other end probably. And that's why I don't. One of the many reasons I don't. But I'm like, oh, could you imagine the disappointment of spending that kind of level of commitment making something, and then at the end of it you're like,
you probably do better than this.
I feel real bad like shitting on it, but it wasn't.
Don't feel
me.
bad. The thing is, like, it was played in a way, it was played so safe to be insulting to anybody who took the time to watch it.
And I totally called what they did with the little girl and her peanut allergy. I was like, here's what's gonna happen.
Oh my God, that was kind of a great moment. That was almost like to the level of ridiculous that would make you be like, you got to see this movie, because the way they first try to address the ghost is feeding it a spoonful of peanut butter.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, because the little girl's allergic to peanut butter.
They're going to try to kill her, not all the way, but to try to get the demon out of her. So they give her peanut butter.
The demon's in her. Okay.
And they've got an EpiPen. And I'm like, EpiPens aren't going to bring you back from the dead. It's not Narcan.
It's not, yeah.
But then I don't really know because I don't, yeah.
So I also assume that this movie is just filled with jump scares of them looking in the mirror.
Not enough.
No, what?
Not enough jump scares.
That seems like nothing but like the trailer led me to believe it.
Well, that was all the jump scares.
That was it.
There are also failed attempts at jump scares that just don't land, so they don't even register as jump scares. Like the uncle character who comes off as like a confirmed bachelor character who works in the garden at the fancy house.
Well, there's only 3 types of uncle characters when you're a basic movie making storyteller. There's the molesting uncle, there's the confirmed bachelor, secretly gay uncle, and then there's the alcoholic but fun Uncle Red uncle.
Oh, Uncle Red's the best kind of uncle.
Yeah, that's the one you want if you have an uncle in a movie.
If you're gonna have an uncle, make it an Uncle Red. It's brought to you by the Council for Uncle Reds. Or is it Uncle's Red?
Oh my God, Freddy.
Anyways,
Uncle Buck,
like
Uncle Buck.
He's working in the garden, and they cut to him, and he stabs the trowel into the dirt and makes a really loud noise, and that's supposed to be a jump scare, even though it cuts from another scene that didn't set up a jump scare. You know what I mean? Like you weren't. Yeah. It was more just to startle the viewer type of thing.
The cheapest of jump scares.
This movie
related to anything.
Can I guess something about the trowel?
Please do.
Does he see a reflection in the trowel, and that's the demon comes from there?
Not even that.
It's soulless and joyless and just a real chore.
Behind you. Leave it behind you. All right. That's enough of that. Not a recommend. Upsettingly not fun. All right, let's move on to hopefully something that's better. Let's get this Jack in the Box out and start a cranking.
Crank it.
Hopefully.
We're going to start with Mr. Freddie Morris. You're up first. Start cranking, buddy.
All right, show
Crank
me.
it.
All right, I'm going to crank it. A dry cranking if I've ever seen one.
Ooh.
Kelley, you're up.
Jeez.
It's like a desert in here. Dry cranks.
Thank
So that
Christ.
means Andy.
Ay, ay, ay. Is it
You
the sequel to Behind You, Called in Front of You?
to the side of you.
Behind you, too.
Peripheral.
This movie's called Spiral. You can find it on Shudder.
Oh, I've heard about this. It's a gay thing, isn't it?
It's so gay. A same-sex couple move to a small town so they can enjoy a better quality of life and raise their 16-year-old daughter with the best social values. But nothing is as it seems in their picturesque neighborhood. And when Malik sees the folks next door throwing a very strange party, something shocking has got to give.
An Eyes Wide Shut party.
Goodness, I hope so.
Sounds like fun.
Fidelio.
So we
The
look
Jack in
forward
the
to that.
Box is very homophobic this week because
It
they're
picked
like, "Ooh,
you."
it's a gay movie, so let's have the gay guy watch it.
Hey, Lachlan Monroe is in this from White Chicks.
Oh, from what known for.
Known for White Chicks.
Hey, a tiny dick's like a disability.
See, I laughed my ass off about that. So
I'm looking
I like
forward.
dumb shit too. Yeah.
I celebrate Lachlan Monroe's entire collection.
Didn't your sister say this was good, Freddie?
What?
Spiral.
Oh, it was spicy. I didn't hear the title of it. I just heard the
Spiral.
description. Yeah, she said it was really good.
So there you go.
Yeah, she said it was really scary.
Can I tell you for a second when this is genuine? When you said spiral, I heard spiral, and I was like, why? Why would that? That's a weird title for a horror movie. Spiral.
It's a new sushi dish at the local restaurant that has a tiny camera in it.
Ooh.
That's actually, I did start thinking about sushi as soon as I said that, and then I was like, it's probably spiral and not spiral.
Spiral.
So I figured it out on my own, but
Spiral.
It's called Spiral. It's a horror film. I think you're going to enjoy it.
You guys need to
My
clean your ears
understanding.
out.
spiral.
All right.
Okie dokie. We'll be right back.
They don't talk about it much in Whoville. But before he stole Christmas, the Grinch haunted Halloween. Watch Halloween is Grinch Night today at 4:30 on TNT.
Well, I hope you have TNT so you can watch Halloween is
I hope
Grinch
you
Night.
do. You get the TNT app.
So, Kelley, this was your pick.
This was. Do you want to know what made me choose this?
Yes.
All right. So,
I don't.
Halloween. Well, I'm going to tell you. Growing up a Jehovah's Witness, as I say every year, I didn't get to celebrate. I'm just kidding. I went on YouTube and searched Halloween special, and this was the first one that came up that either A, I hadn't watched, or B, looked interesting. I do like animated Halloween specials, and so I was like, oh, a Grinch movie. And then I made sure it was old because I didn't want to watch like a Grinch movie from the 2000s or the 90s or something.
And I don't want the turkey to come alive and eat me.
I don't want that. I've dealt with that as many times as I possibly can, and I can't anymore. So, I went on YouTube and I was like, this looks good. And yeah, it was cute. It was super cute.
Yeah. Had anybody heard of this before Kelley introduced it to us?
I'd heard of it, but I had never seen it.
I don't know if I had. Maybe I've heard of it, but I didn't remember hearing of it. It was brand new to me.
I think the only reason,
kind of obscure.
yeah, I think the only reason I had heard of it is from years past while we were doing these specials
Same.
that I came across it searching the internet. And I liked it, but
Yeah.
I also feel like I turned to Amy a few times and I said, is this really Dr. Seuss or is this someone impersonating him writing this?
Well, what's funny is he did write it.
He did.
If you watch the credits, he wrote the teleplay and the songs.
Yep.
Yeah. What I thought was funny, and again, I'm like you, I liked it. It was super cute. It was kind of trippy, very trippy, actually, in parts. But when you really look at it, is it even really a Halloween special? Because I don't feel like Halloween may not have even been happening, for all you know. They don't trick or treat in Whoville. They don't really decorate for Halloween. They don't watch scary movies. It seemed like any other night for the Who's. The only thing that made it Halloween was that the Grinch was going to come down, and then it seemed like it was something he does every year, but this year for some reason they just were able to turn him back.
I asked Freddy. I was like, "What do they think he's going to do?"
He's the creep that lives on the hill. Yeah,
is he going to eat them? Has he done that before?
I think you need to think of your own experience with Crazy Willie.
Yeah.
You guys were scared of him, but you weren't sure exactly why.
Kelley and I, just in case nobody remembers this story, Kelley and I, we lived in the same neighborhood as young people, teens and preteens.
Kicking it teen style.
And there was a man who lived in our neighborhood, and we called him Crazy Willie, and he supposedly killed and molested and kidnapped. And my mom, I think, found him peeping in a window once.
Yeah,
you go ahead.
I was just going to say, I remember there was also an incident where he just stood on the sidewalk in front of your house while your mom was working in the yard and stared at her.
I think I remember that.
Crazy Will, we had reasons to be scared of Crazy Willie. Now, until later, much of it was all hearsay.
Right.
But growing up, he lived he lived 2 corners away from me. And he would stop. He had these dogs, first of all, that were terrifying, and there were stories of
just like the
chasing
Grinch.
people. Yes. Except the Grinch's dog was sweet.
Yeah.
Willie's dogs were Bill Gasnick, by the way, if anyone wants to Google this. They were mean, and they would kind of bark and snap at kids. He would come through the neighborhood and stop and talk to mostly the girls. There were a lot of girls. I hung out with a lot of girls in the neighborhood because there were, I wasn't like, I'm pimping,
Kelley, I pictured you in the big pimp outfit as a teenager.
So he would stop while I was around, but I think mainly he was talking to young girls. This is when we were 10, 11. But then he would also our friend's mom, who was in her 30s, perfectly attractive woman. I'm not trying to say anything, but he walked up to her at a Maristop and said, started talking to her and was like, what are you, 17? She was clearly not 17, but it was weird. There are a number of reasons it's weird.
That's a very specific age for him to ask.
Exactly. And also, that was a confirmed story from an adult who wasn't going to make up a Crazy Willie story. And there was another one from our neighborhood from when I was very young, where supposedly he sort of took one of our neighbors, a woman, hostage in her house for a few hours, and the police had to come and separate that. And he did live with his parents well into his, I don't know how old he was when he finally did actually kidnap 2 teenage girls and rape them and hold them hostage in his home, for which he then went to prison.
Are you serious?
That's so crazy.
Oh my God.
Years later,
really?
It's a case of seeing it coming 101.
Yeah. And when the story broke, this was the days of email. This was before social media was either really a thing or I was on it. And I emailed all my friends and I was like, look at this shit. Could have been any of you, probably not me, but unless he killed me to get me out of the way to get to you. But oof. Yeah, I imagine. I'm surprised you didn't have more run-ins with him, Amy.
And we don't know what he got away with either.
Right.
Exactly.
But he's the Grinch. That's what I'm getting at.
The Grinch.
He lived down there for years and years at the very end of the street in a very kind of spooky little house with his elderly parents.
Is that a proper comparison?
No, it's not, because the Grinch clearly, and that's the other question I had.
But does the Grinch have this reputation amongst the Who?
Does this take place prior to when he stole Christmas and his heart grew 3 sizes?
It's a prequel.
According to the
I read
trailer.
up on it. Yeah, it's a prequel.
So this is
And
Bad
I'm also-
Grinch.
And why were the Who's powerless to stop him from doing this every year?
Yeah, there's so many Who's and there's one him.
They're scared of him.
But is there no police force?
The Who police?
The Who police.
Are there no authorities?
No.
So they just let him.
It's a utopian society where everyone's equal and they don't enforce laws.
But so they just let him do this, whatever it is to them every year?
I guess. I guess.
You know? I mean, because he was coming down
back every year.
Because he was coming down that mountain with a big bag of something. And I tell you, what's in that bag was probably not good.
No. Dude,
it was probably not good.
Big sack of shit. He's been saving all those dog shits and Grinch shits and just stuffing that bag all year. He starts on November 1st.
Is that the candy he hands out?
Yeah. It's he's going to give Cindy Lou Who some poo poo.
So he goes to Amy, get it together. He hangs out, or he doesn't. We're treated to the Aya family. Josiah, Mariah, Euchariah. There's one more, right?
Little Aya.
Little Aya. Little Aya Glass. And they're like, shit, bro. This is crazy. It's Grinch night. Stay inside.
This kid's got to use the euphemism.
He's got a lot of questions, too.
Yeah.
Their little Euchariah, which Andy is not okay with that name.
Because it's not a name.
Oh, really?
But he's like, I know that if I go outside, I could potentially be molested or murdered by the Grinch, but man, I got a shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he heads to the euphemism.
How far did that kid end up walking? He ends up halfway up the mountain.
Yeah, he gets lost walking. He's walking to a place he can see from his house.
But doesn't he get blown away or something?
Oh, maybe I was distracted for that second.
I missed that part too. I thought he just walked.
Sorry about the
really
chime.
Far.
No, he was on his way to the outhouse, but something nature took its course.
Oh, yeah, because in the beginning they said like it was a windy day and there's a smell in the air.
The sweet sour wind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The sweet sour wind of the Grinch.
So, or think like the Grinch brings this bad weather because he's so evil.
We thought he was farting.
Yeah, and the wind blew Euchariah away up the mountain, I think.
So he runs into the
lost.
Grinch. Yeah. And then the Grinch is like, I'm going to molest you, I guess. I don't know what he did.
He mean mugged him, and it was supposed to. It turns out the kid's actually pretty brave, and he goes down the side of the mountain and he intersects the Grinch's path to town multiple times before. I don't even remember how this resolves.
I think him and the dog team up.
Yeah, I know the dog is like, he wants to adopt the dog. He says, I'm going to take you home and give you a nice home.
Yeah. And the dog is voiced by Henry Gibson.
Yeah, from The Burbs.
I thought that was an interesting moment where we got an insight into the dog's life before he was kidnapped by the Grinch, I guess.
But what's sad is
it was real sad because
at some point he goes back to the Grinch. He goes back to his abuser
because he's
Stockholm syndrome.
If this is a prequel,
because he's still in the Christmas one.
He says I can change him. And you know what, though? He was right just 2 months later.
It's true.
If that was indeed the Christmas when the Grinch tried to steal it.
Oh, it could have been years of suffering.
Could have been years later.
I love Henry Gibson's sweet little singing voice as the dog. Maybe the highlight of the show for me.
Yeah. And then everybody's happy at the end, except for the Grinch. But he'll get there.
Yeah. He just needs to work on himself.
This was some trippy shit.
Yeah. He seemed like he was going to do some bad. Like it was some like Francis Dollarhide from Red Dragon speechifying. Like
I'm a mean one. Do you see?
He was going to kill some people or molest them or both.
Hey, I have a question. Like, how did Euchariah have that acid trip?
He couldn't toxicity from not going to the euphemism soon enough. That's a Who problem. It's in their DNA.
A Who poo is a deadly thing.
Small. If they don't evacuate, it backs up into their system, and there's toxins go through their bloodstream, and they experience
shock syndrome or something
exactly like that. But it happens all the time.
If he ate a lot of roast beast.
Too much roast beef. It was it was Grinch Night.
Too much green eggs and ham.
Which is also why the Grinch was farting so much. None of them understand their gastric, issues very well.
But I did like the acid trip scene. It reminded me of the Heffalumps and Woozles.
Yes.
From,
and the Dumbo sequence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they even had a Woozle. Remember? One of the characters was named Woozles.
Wuzu, yeah.
Was it Uzu?
Woozles or Weasels.
Wuzu, I think.
Wuzu?
Yeah.
All right.
It was fun. I'm glad I've seen it. It's one that
fast.
It was good and fast, and I do feel like I liked it enough that I might revisit it on another Halloween or put it on the background.
Same. Yeah, it was cute.
It's a good snorting cocaine off your glass coffee table movie.
Yeah.
Not that I did that. I'm just saying.
We don't have a glass coffee table.
We don't have a glass coffee table.
Or cocaine.
All right. We'll be right back with our next Halloween special.
Oh, cool. A dark basement. I was just thinking we should be doing this in a dark basement.
Troy, why did you ditch your costume? Why bring that up now, Abed? We might die down here.
All the more reason to get this ironed out. You called me a nerd up there. What defines a nerd? Committing to an awesome Halloween costume with your best friend? Is that what nerds do?
I don't know, Abed, because I'm not a nerd, which is why I'm not taking part in this nerdy conversation. Shh, nerds! Did you hear that?
Jeez! It was just a cat. Let's keep moving.
Holy crap!
What is up with that cat?
Is someone throwing it?
Let's not keep moving, because there is an insane cat down here.
But what about the zombies?
Backburner, Troy. This cat has to be dealt with. There it is. Grab it!
Yeah, let's go through there. Okay, that door should lead upstairs. The thermostat will be right
Enough with the thermostat, Abed. This is not pretend playtime, save the world time. It's 1:15. Let's get the hell out of this building. Time.
So this is Kelly's second pick, Epidemiology from season 2 of Community.
Yes, I picked this one just because I've been wanting to revisit Community anyway.
As you should.
And so I was like, this is an opportunity to kind of dive in. Alise has never really watched it at all. The boys,
that's cool.
The boys, they put it, it's one of their shows on that they just put in the background. So like she's heard it and passed it, but this was a good excuse to kind of jump into that. And I'm glad you played that scene because it is the ultimate hilarious scene, I think, from this episode.
Yeah.
So good. It's such a good episode. It's packed.
Yes, it is packed.
It's also my first time I've ever seen a Community episode.
Really, Andy?
That's shocking.
Is that true?
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, I thought you had watched Community too.
No, I just never. It was just, one of those things you put on the back burner. You just never get to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I really enjoyed it. The same way I enjoyed Superstore, because everybody's a buffoon on this show. It seems like.
Yes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They are hyper realities. Yeah, these are augmented realities.
As opposed to like The Office, where you have like the more grounded characters like Jim and Pam that you're supposed to relate to.
Yeah, you don't get that on Community.
No.
Yeah,
but you do.
But you relate to them in a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once you put the picture together, as you build on it, it definitely deals with real things, but in a fantasy kind of way. Like Scrubs, it's very Scrubsian.
Yeah, I feel I can take this. I can feel like I won't get angry at this show.
No,
like I did with The Office sometimes.
No,
Scrubsian.
It's very Scrubsian.
I love the Dean in this. Well, it's so funny because we watched Return of the Living Dead Friday night, and then turn around and watch this Saturday.
Yeah, and there's a reference in there.
There's a lot of reference.
There's a lot of reference.
Yeah.
Return of the Living Dead with the Dean calling in the army, coming onto the line.
I love that that whole sequence of him chaining the doors. It's pretty great.
He's dressed like Lady Gaga.
I love the Dean. He might be
Dean.
One of the best TV characters ever.
Yes. You have to love the Dean. I love that it all starts from a tainted, what they think is tainted MREs. Because
that's the running joke. Because if Andy hasn't seen the show before this, like the community college they go to is known for cutting corners, and everything is super. It's almost like Springfield Elementary, the joke.
Yeah.
And they bought MREs in lieu of buying actual catering, services. They bought MREs, expired MREs, right, from the Army. I love that setup.
From the Army surplus store, yeah.
So good.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and Alise pointed out it is interesting watching things like that during a pandemic slash sort of locked down situation.
Yeah, because it's passed through the bite. Well, if you eat the tainted food, or if somebody bites you, you get the rabies and a taste for human flesh, and everybody turns into a zombie.
Yep. I love the baiting costume that Ken Jeong's character.
Oh,
where he's just baiting people to be racist.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, before he even said who he was, I guessed it already.
Yeah, well, because you're a huge figure skating.
Yeah, but I was like, that's not Michelle Kwan, that's Peggy Fleming. Because she had that very signature hairdo.
Yeah.
I think the hardest I laughed during this episode is when he bursts into the room and says, "Guess who I am?"
There's a bunch of zombies.
And I love he's got the skates like slung over his shoulder and stuff. It was just like a really phenomenal moment in television. Again, I will talk about this like it's the I Love Lucy Stomping Grapes episode. Because to me it's that good.
It is so fucking good. Jeff as a zombie, but he's just like playing
Still
with his
too
phone.
cool. Yeah, he's still texting.
Still cool as a zombie.
Yeah. I almost feel like this is one of those situations where I'm just like, just go watch it.
Chevy Chase dressed like Captain Kirk.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
A delight.
Anything else for this one?
No, I just appreciated the fact that Gillian Jacobs,
Gillian.
I love her. Gillian. Sorry, Gillian. But like she's just really gorgeous girl, and she still has her like. She's a buffoon too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, Brit. Yeah, you're gonna learn a lot about Britta.
Yes,
you get a Britta.
Yeah, I think it's just a nice departure from how really hot girls are portrayed on like sitcoms.
I think you would love Community, Andy, and I would delight in you.
Agreed.
Yeah, you should just try it. Start at the beginning and see how it goes.
If anybody's interested, I do an Eyes on TV episode with Fozzie.
Yeah, it's on our Patreon feed.
On our Patreon page, we talk about Community.
And like on Superstore, there's like a lot of throwaway jokes that are still really funny.
Yeah,
because there's this moment where Chevy Chase is a zombie, and he just lifts up the tail of the banana.
Yeah,
that was funny.
And just contemplating it. And it's just a little throwaway joke, but I was just really amused by it.
And Andy said Superstore when he meant Community, in case anybody's like, what about Superstore?
No, I said Superstore had like a lot of throwaway jokes.
You did mean to say, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like
yes, they're very similar. Yeah, there's a lot of similar bits.
I think what sets Community apart, though, is the way it kind of breaks down and uses those tropes, and is very meta in not a dickish, annoying way.
You said Community?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I did.
I don't know. I'm getting whiplash going back and forth between Superstore and Community.
We're talking about Community.
So it's like never mean, like how The Office is sometimes, right?
Community?
Can be.
Pierce.
Chevy Chase.
Honestly, in a way, like it always turns around on him.
Mm-hmm.
Like if any of the characters all of them are very flawed people. Like Shirley has some moments that are pretty
Everybody
dark.
does, but they do try to redeem themselves at least. Except for I don't think Pierce gets that opportunity because I think they were like, "Bye, Chevy."
It's all endearing.
Sometimes he did early on, like it would usually be turned around on him, like in that he wouldn't really learn anything, but you would feel bad for him because he was old.
Yeah,
he did end up giving like Troy the boat to sail around the world.
Yeah, I really I'm
with LeVar Burton.
I know I understand from everything I've read, seen, and taken in as a reality that Chevy Chase is a total asshole, but I still am a huge fan of his comedy. I think he's one of the greatest comedic performers ever. I'm using a lot of like hyperbole and big declarations about Community tonight.
It's okay.
That's good. It's a great show.
Listen to your own second mind.
It's so 70s,
You
this
were
special.
afraid you wouldn't be strong enough alone. Now look where the music can take you if you let it go.
I'm being bullied into cutting that short, so I'm going to. I like to give in to pressure from my peers.
We were the only ones that watched this.
So it kind of gives you a feel of what it is. Now, these are the same creative people that did like heavy metal, rock and roll, which is one of my all-time favorites, which is actually kind of more of this in a way.
Yeah, this looks very rock and roll to me.
It's very much that, yeah. So The Devil and Daniel Mouse is like an adaptation of the original story from Stephen Vincent Bennett, The Devil and Daniel Webster, where a farmer wants to become very successful and he sells his soul to the devil, but then he enlists this character, Daniel, to represent him in a trial to save his soul. And in this, it's this little mouse couple, and they are a musical act, kind of a folksy musical act. And one night, it's the crossroads situation, very Robert Johnson, where the male mouse goes off to do something, I can't remember what, and she's alone and meets Beelzebub, who convinces her to sell her. She doesn't really, realize she's selling her soul because the contract is so long. But like he says, you'll have great success, and she becomes this big rock star.
Funky Jan.
Old Funky Jan.
This seemed to be a frequent theme in 70s kinds of like the selling out to become a glammy rock star, and like the disgusting people. Like that seemed to come up a lot, I feel like.
Yeah.
In animated things at this time.
Yeah, so it's dark in a way that you would never, I think, see now from a Halloween special. That it's almost like there wasn't really a consideration for the age of their audience. It was just like, this is the story we're telling.
Yeah.
And we're going to tell it the way we want to tell it. And I really thought that was cool. The musical numbers are great. The animation is fantastic. You can stream it on YouTube if you want to check it out.
It's cute.
It's really cute.
Yeah, I may still check that out. It looks great.
Yeah, and it's the guy from The Loving Spoonful, right? You said wrote
the
music?
lyrics. I
John
think.
Sebastian.
Yeah, and he does the singing voice of Daniel Mouse.
Yeah.
Also, Welcome Back Kotter theme song.
Yes, I saw that in the trivia, and I was like, what? That guy?
Yep.
Welcome back.
And then the singing voice of Jan Mouse is Valerie Carter. And she's got a wonderful voice. She's passed away since. So,
well,
not anymore, I guess.
I just like from that little preview that you played the glam rock mouse.
Yeah.
That was good.
Oh, her band that the devil conjures up for her is pretty great. All the musical sequences in this, if you're a child of the 70s and 80s, it really hits all of the nostalgia buttons. Plus, it's just, it really is a great work of art, I'd say.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it. But here, let's get into the real meaty one. This one I have a personal connection to, The Midnight Hour. I saw this when it originally aired on TV, and it's always rattled around the back of my mind since. So here's the trailer for that one.
Eternity is about to play a nasty little trick.
Who's that?
On the carefree kids of Pitchboard Cove.
Figured out what you're gonna wear to the party yet tonight? Demons, arise. Come heed my bidding on this night of nights.
Halloween, my favorite time of year. I'm not afraid of death. I'm going for it.
The party could go on forever in the Midnight Hour. Next.
So The Midnight Hour was an ABC made-for-TV movie with this crazy all-star cast. Sorry. Go ahead, Kelley.
I was just going to say, this has skyrocketed to the top of my favorites list. And I just cannot, I just want to start off by saying I cannot believe I've never seen this before.
Well, it was really difficult to find for a long time. And then they released it on DVD, and then it fell back into obscurity and again is unavailable. But you can, again, this is one of those things you can stream on YouTube. This aired November 1st, 1985. I don't know if they called it Movie of the Week back then. I can't remember what ABC's brand was for that.
I think they did. ABC or the Saturday Night Movie, or depending on what it was. Yeah, there are a number of different things they called them.
So this one, real quick, just Phil, Melissa, Mitch, Mary, and Vinny are high school friends, played by 30-somethings for the most part, who unwittingly raise the dead on Halloween night. Once the dead have returned, Pitchfork Cove.
Pitchford.
But they call it Pitchfork Cove in the movie a couple of times because of the history of the town.
Correct you.
But it is Pitchford Cove. We'll never be the same,
asshole.
or will I?
Sherry Belafonte.
Or will it? I said, will I?
Peter DeLuise.
Yep.
LeVar Burton.
Oh, yeah.
That guy with the white hair.
Kevin McCarthy, who was in the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers and UHF. He was
Inner Space.
And Inner Space, yeah.
Kurtwood Smith.
Yep.
Dumbass.
Dick Van Patten.
Dee Dee Pfeiffer.
That's right. You had there was a couple other stars in this.
Yeah, I feel like there were a couple others.
Did you already say Peter DeLuise?
Yeah.
From 21 Jump Street, son of Dom.
Son of Dom.
Son of Dom.
It's just a super fun 80s to the core movie. It doesn't feel like a made for TV movie. It feels like something that would have come out theatrically.
What's funny, it doesn't. It feels huge. Like we talked about this quite a bit watching this yesterday. And that, first of all, I miss a TV movie like this. I mean, I know we're in a golden age of TV, and there are things that are kind of like this, but there's something about a network TV movie that feels big like this, and it feels like it was written with the scope of a big, feature film, theatrical film, but it still has that TV movie feel. And what we also thought about was, I feel like a lot of TV movies, like especially horror ones, actually managed to be scary in a way that sometimes like theatrical movies just didn't, without being able to show as much.
Yeah.
And like Alise was saying, probably because they had to spend more time building tension than using like gore effects or, trying to reel people in with that kind of thing. Yeah. So I just felt like TV movies could be a lot spookier sometimes. I miss a great horror TV movie.
Well, I think part of the reason the director of this, Jack Bender, he left TV probably 5 or 6 years after to direct Child's Play 3, and then he returned to TV and really got prestige directing jobs. So like he became one of the Game of Thrones directors. He did Alias, The Sopranos, Lost. He works with Stephen King frequently. He's making a TV miniseries out of The Institute. He worked on Mr. Mercedes. So like
Mr. Mercedes,
Mr. Marzetti's,
Mr. Johnny Marzetti's,
about the dressing magnate. But he's had like this really. You can see it in this. Like this guy, I think he knows what he's doing. There are moments in this that are very music video-esque, but that was all the rage then.
Yeah, it was 85. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So like, was this was a basic kind of Salem-esque town who had they had a witch legend about the town that was very much Tituba and the whole shebang. But in this telling, the white pilgrim
is the hero.
He's the hero. Like he's the guy who stopped the evil black witch from hurting the white settlers.
It was funny how at the beginning the Witchfinder General, like they're talking about the Witchfinder General, but like in a sort of a heroic like context. And I was like, that's different.
It was a weird.
Like Witchfinder General is just like another word for like Gestapo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, they were probably like two birds, one stone.
Yeah.
Well, like you think about that in 85, we were still programmed that we just lumped witch in with vampire or werewolf. It was just another monster.
Yeah.
And we never really associated the racism, sexism, all the cultural ills
we were
that go
5
into that.
when this came out. So.
Yeah. So
I was 8.
Right.
Okay. Sorry,
So
Andy and I were 5. I forgot how old you two were.
They weren't going for complexity with the backstory.
Kelley understood the socio-political repercussions of this.
He was 8.
I did. Yeah. I was right on the cusp of this, and I was like, I like this movie, but I'm a little uncomfortable with sort of the rewriting of history here. Mm-hmm. And I wrote them a letter. I sent it to ABC. It wasn't in cursive yet because I didn't know how to do that.
Right, that came later. Yeah,
another thing I really enjoy about this movie is it's from an era when the horror genre, it was enough to have this very mysterious amalgam of weird stuff going on. You didn't have to really understand like the mythology or the explanation.
Nor could you.
Right, because in this is very much the old school concept of the undead being anything under the sun.
Which they talked about when she's like all manner of dead, all manner. Like I thought that was awesome. I thought this movie was awesome.
Yeah, it's right up there with like Monster Squad or any of those for me.
Whoa.
Same.
Okay, here's the thing. When we were kind of texting back and forth when we were watching this, and Kelley was like, "Oh my God, this is one of the best things ever," and I hadn't watched it yet.
Oh,
so Andy's contrary nature came to the fore.
No, I was just my hopes were like really built up.
Oh,
but I saw it.
I was
too
much for you.
Yeah, I just like I saw it. I was like, "Oh, this is good."
Yeah.
And that's just what it is for me. It's just good.
This ticked off all my boxes. Like because this checked every box I have.
Like Kelley was saying, it feels like a theatrical release, but at the same time, it feels you can see the limitations it had as a TV movie.
Well, it's also of its time.
I think it wanted to do more, but it just couldn't with it. Maybe its budget or because it was constrained to TV with what they could do.
Maybe it felt pretty complete to me.
Like, yeah, and that was one of the things I liked about it. Sorry, you go ahead, and then I'll say what I liked about it.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, I really enjoyed the messiness of it. It was what Halloween was at that time. The way I perceived Halloween, this movie really encapsulates what Halloween in 1985 was. Our neighborhood back then was really a big Halloween neighborhood. Like everybody decorated. We had a block party. Yeah. It was different than it is now. And this felt like that. And especially the big party scene, which by the way, that was the house from Scream 2.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
There's some good house porn in this movie.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I actually really love the idea. Like part of what I love about it being a television movie and showing its TV side is that certain story elements got wrapped up like more easily than if you were watching a theatrical film, I might even be okay with, you know what I mean? But in a TV movie setting where it's like big stars and there's some comedy thrown in to this mix, and it's kind of there's a lot of different tones happening. I like that because it didn't make it go over long. It didn't overcomplicate things. It just kind of let things be what they were. And then it was like, well, here's the idea to fix everything. Like in another movie, be like, oh, they really rushed that. But here I was like, yeah, that feels right. Get this done. And it did. Like I very charming to me. This definitely touched my special place where nostalgia lives.
Your nostalgia bathing suit area.
Mm-hmm.
The charm for me is kind of its messiness.
Yeah.
But I felt like I wanted more at the same time because I wanted more of the monsters getting out into the town and causing havoc, because mostly what you saw was contained in that party scene.
Yeah, I think that, I agree with you. Like there would have been great if there was like a Gremlins element to it.
Yeah, that's what I was, that's where I feel like the restrictions of TV movie came into play, because they could have done a lot more with it, like of like the monsters going house to house and tearing up the town. But like I said, it was like mostly the horror was contained during that party, which I found really fun, but it was just too small for me.
I got you. I think it would have made a great comic book.
Well, I feel like Paranorman owes a big debt to this movie.
For sure. Oh, I kept thinking that too, especially the story of the 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 founders and the witch. Although again, Paranorman flips it the other way, sort of. Spoiler alert, but
yeah.
The a couple of highlights for me. One, LeVar Burton just looking to smash.
Yeah.
And
he was all about that ass.
And then he gets turned into a zombie, and then they do the big choreography number, and I'm like, look at Jordy go.
Yeah. This was a lot of the
knockoffs.
Yeah, and a lot of the people that worked on the Thriller video also worked on this movie.
Clearly.
And I think they knew. They were like, strike while the iron's hot. We're going to do another Thriller for our big climax.
I love that song. That song did crack me up. Get Dead. It's just like everybody's gonna die someday.
No,
Try it.
I think they were trying to make it bigger than it was. Like, this is gonna be a big hit.
It could Belafonte's Thriller.
It could have been.
Do the Get Dead.
It could have been a big hit. I mean, judging by the tastes of 1985, they had every reason to believe that this movie would have spun off into like a music career for.
Yeah.
A bigger music career for Belafonte. She already had one, but
another highlight, I guess, is the realization that Kevin McCarthy is Peter DeLuise's dad, and he gets turned into a monster, and then later kills his kid.
Yeah. It's dark.
Then the movie just kind of, he's dead, and then we move on. And I'm like, oh my God, he just killed his child.
Well, I thought the moment when there's two instances of parents killing, the great grandmother kills Sherry Belafonte's character, turns into a vampire.
Oh yeah.
And that scene,
are they saying that witches are vampires?
Again, it's part of it's
I couldn't understand.
I like that this movie rejects categorizing and the phylums and all that stuff because
werewolves aren't undead.
I hate the demystification. The demystification of the supernatural in entertainment is one of the big drawbacks of genre stuff.
Agreed.
It's the same thing. The problem I had with Rob Zombie's Halloween, like it's all about destroying the mysteries and just laying things out there as if it's a science. It's not.
Yes.
That's
why I hate science. And
I reject science. Like so. During this pandemic, I've just been trying to become a werewolf because I think I don't be immune.
Exactly. Science has its place, but it's not with ghouls and goblins.
Oh, you're right.
I agree with you on the demystification. And then I also want to say, though, however, Amy, to answer your question, and this is what we've been trained everyone by Hollywood to forget that one of the ways, the main way that people would become vampires before vampire movies was evil people who would commit suicide or who died. Or people who were werewolves in life, when you died, you could often come back as a vampire. Witches would come back as vampires. So I actually love too that they kind of let that be a thing.
Yeah.
Because movies tend to anymore make it like, well, you only become a vampire if a vampire bites you.
Right. Like it's a disease.
Yeah.
And we've bought into that. Like we, as an audience, we're like, horror has become science fiction.
Yes.
And it's that whole thing. And I think it was reinforced with Scream and the meta horror movement where there are rules when in a way, like, yes, it's fun to have those horror movie rules, but at the same time, it's constraining and it limits your imagination sometimes.
I feel like it was this response to feeling like things were old fashioned.
Yeah.
Like, especially in as the 60s kind of rolled around and things were becoming, everybody was into mod and like, getting rid of old ideas. I think the idea of an old fashioned monster, like even George Romero's Martin was like specifically a rejection of the, the mysticism of vampires. And so I think that just continued to happen through, again, the 70s and the 80s, even into the 90s, where it was like these old-fashioned ideas are like, vampires are so old-fashioned, let's make them modern.
Well, in these uncertain times, I like rules. So I was very concerned. I'm like, I don't understand why this witch is raised from the dead. And then why was the cheerleader chick not anything?
She's a ghost.
She was a ghost, yeah. She was a different kind of undead.
Oh.
All manner of dead.
Was I watching this movie at all?
Like, if you remember, like, also werewolves were undead. Like, if you go back...
Well, they weren't undead. They were demons.
Well, it all depends. What I'm saying is, like, if you look at, like, Universal, Like when they talk about in the Wolfman, I believe the Gypsy at one point they use the term undead to describe werewolves in a lot of literature and film. And I think, again, it comes back to everything got refined into these categories where people are experts in make-believe are saying that you're wrong if you think a vampire can't turn into a werewolf or whatever. That's not who decides the canon. This isn't like a shared universe that somebody laid the rules out for.
Right.
We just all got there organically and accepted it. And I think that's one of the things I love about this movie is it was kind of that golden moment between things for the horror genre where there was enough there for like the kid in me had the frosting and the adult in me had the shredded weed portion of the film. If that makes sense.
That's a great way to put that. I love shredded mini frosted wheats.
Yeah, you can't think about this movie too hard because it had zombies that were making out. So
and dancing.
Oh yeah, lots of great comedy too. I love the cute little zombie that was bopping through the party. Like
the little person zombie that when he answered the Sherry Belafonte answered the door.
Are you talking about the demon or the zombie? Because you had the little people tended to be demons, I think.
No, but the little person zombie, he knocked at the door and Sherry Belafonte opened it and he just snapped.
He was like, hey.
Like a greaser and walked in.
Yeah.
He Fonzied in.
He was cool. I like the newspaper ghoul. I think that.
That's who I was thinking of. The one that just carried and then ends up at the party and is dancing and having a good time.
He was real cute.
Eating the popcorn.
Yeah.
So
adorable.
If the cheerleader chick that our main character Phil was like falling in love with,
I fell in love with her too, by the way.
I did too. That story, again, we were talking about that.
She was looking to smash.
Definitely.
The girl that dies and like lures like travelers kind of ghost story trope is always one I found super creepy and super sad. And so she kind of had the heart of the story, that was your heart and your emotional connection. I really like that too.
So,
and she was looking to smash. She was like, I got one night.
Get in the back seat, dude. There's this scene where they're at, I don't know where the fuck they are. They're just standing outside and she looks down and there are these 2 newspapers balled up on the ground and she picks them up and she's like, I got an idea or something. And then cut to our main character, he's like, what? And then cut back and she's shredded the newspaper so it looks like pom-poms. And I'm like, what just happened? When did that happen?
Okay. I like to think
she
that
powers?
she had I think so because
those are ghost powers.
Yeah.
Didn't she make Phil's car go faster than he thought it could?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
When she told him to drag race and she touched
there's no reason he should have outrun the other car, right?
Yeah, because he was like, I've never driven this car that fast. I don't think it can.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden she makes him win the drag race.
Can we also talk about 1985 was the year of taking the poodle skirt 50s pre-sexual revolution woman and making her the sexual aggressor. And that was like a trope. Because, I mean, they did it in a lot of stuff, like Peggy Sue Got Married, Back to the Future, this, and numerous other times they brought that through, it was like I think it was a really cool trope.
I do too. It was a way to show like these were sexual beings that we all thought were just innocent, Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They had their own sexual autonomy.
Now, we haven't talked about Wolfman Jack doing the wraparound on this, which...
Hey, boys and girls.
This is going to be a relic too, because live radio, you could tie a movie together with the town DJ.
Yeah.
I mean, like, go back to like the Warriors and all these things. Like it was such a great framing device. Gremlins. Yep. And
they actually do this in Hubie Halloween too.
Oh, do they?
Is it Wolfman Jack?
Well, I think that's
dead.
I feel like that movie's supposed to be a throwback to this kind of thing.
Yeah, this movie actually felt a lot like Hubie Halloween. Because it's got the small town and things like, big hijinks happen with monsters and stuff like that. So I like that throwback of Hubie Halloween, but other than that, no.
No.
Well, it's kind of one of those things like what town still listens to their local radio station where you could cut from one scene to another and everybody has it tuned in. Like, we did that as kids. Like everybody on Halloween, you were listening to EBN or 96 Rock. Because they were playing cool rock, heavy metal, like
They're playing all your
spooky
scary
stuff.
songs.
Yeah,
They're playing Werewolves of London all night long.
I'm sure they still do that, but we're not
nobody knows
tuning
about
in.
it.
Nobody's tuned in. We were for a walk in our neighborhood the other day because it was beautiful outside, and we passed a guy working on his car in his driveway listening to WBN. And I was like, did I go through a portal?
You did.
Because it was like I heard the frog,
Ribbit.
Yeah.
The Lunatic Fringe.
Lunatic Fringe of American FM. Oh my God.
I know, right?
But, another thing I liked about this movie was there were actually moments of really scary moments.
Yeah.
Oh, there were.
That moment where the town, a militia guy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He has his two dogs.
Yeah, he gets mauled by a werewolf, and for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a really long while.
The shadow. Yeah, it's pretty.
So I was just surprised at that point, like just the juxtaposition of like the light, teen movie going on, but it had moments of like true horror.
Yeah, and they have that crane shot of him laying on the sidewalk, and they're aggressively like spinning him around. It's like he's forcibly being breakdanced.
Yeah.
But it reminded me a lot of like scenes from like Silver Bullet, like the level of frantic violence that was with the werewolf scenes was pretty intense. I thought the scene where Sherry Belafonte gets bitten by her great-great-grandmother in the basement and all those wine bottles are flying around and stuff.
Oh, yeah, that was great, too. We were both like, holy shit, this is very intense.
Yeah. And then,
So at the end, does everything just go back to normal? Is everybody alive?
I don't know.
They don't give you that reassurance. They give you a clue that maybe...
Like, they're able to complete the spell that'll send all the evil back, I guess.
Yeah,
and his car's fine.
The cheerleader says we have to do this by midnight. Otherwise, the people who suffered these acts of violence will remain.
Oh, was I even watching this movie?
Well, it's funny. I've seen this many times, and
I had a few White Claws.
I always feel like they give you that visual cue that his car's back to the way it was, and you're like, oh, okay, they undid everything.
I would hope so. I feel like these children, even though they broke into a museum and stole the costumes, which was not cool.
Doesn't that even happen? Does that happen in Paranorman? I feel like they broke into the museum in Paranorman too.
They definitely broke into the Historical Society, but I think that was after things already started happening.
Oh, okay. But yeah, they are so similar. The two movies. This vibe is very, very similar.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, I just love the shit out of this movie.
It was fun.
Me too.
It's fun.
It's going to be a yearly thing, I think, for me now.
What about an annual tradition?
Your yearly custom has become an annual tradition?
Mm-hmm.
Which is the greatest Simpsons joke I will never, ever let go.
But real quick, we didn't mention all the crazy costumes at the Halloween party.
Oh, yeah. Football player diaper.
Yeah, if you want to get an idea, go to our social media pages, and there's like a little clip of a football player wearing a diaper with a new wave wig.
So I actually just got a Facebook message from Anya Steer who says, have you guys done Mr. Boogedy and or Bride of Boogedy? We did Mr. Boogedy. And I almost picked Bride of Boogedy for this year, but
There's always next year.
I didn't realize you could get this movie, the Midnight Hour, streaming anywhere. So that's why I switched it to this.
One thing we forgot to mention as well, great soundtrack.
Great soundtrack.
Great music.
They took real good advantage of being able to license things.
Yeah.
And they must have really licensed it because they're all still in the movie.
That must be why it's so hard to find.
Yeah, I'm sure it would be very
it's not supposed to be on YouTube.
Yeah.
But it is.
It was an interesting mix of songs because you had Bad Moon Rising, and then you had How Soon Is Now.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like the polar opposite types of songs.
Yeah, How Soon Is Now went on forever, too. It was like, how long is How Soon Is Now? I played for half the party.
Soon. Just wait. It's soon.
I thought it was real sweet. The denouement that you get is her calling into Wolfman Jack's show right before she knows she's going back, and requesting that special dedication to
Baby, I'm Yours.
Yeah.
It was really good.
It's a solid, this movie, the bones are there for somebody to go in and really make a bang up live action remake of it.
Or I think this would make an excellent comic book.
Yeah.
I think it has a great comic book feel. I think a comic book would capture. I feel like if they try to do this as a movie now, it's going to lose everything about it, like because of the time that it is now. You know what I mean?
Oh,
yeah. Trying to recapture something, I think they'll lose something. But
Well,
I think you do it
yeah. I don't think you would go and remake it and set it in the 80s and all that. I think that just the bones of the concept of the town, this town, and having the Halloween party elements and all that stuff, just you could update it.
For sure.
But yeah, like nothing will beat for me. Like I have this very, very nostalgic, warm connection to this movie. It's one of those things that's like just magical for me.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
As so many things were in 1985. It was a good year.
We just gave you
for entertainment.
7 hours of Halloween content for you to watch now, just from this show alone.
Yeah, and then there's the Boogity movies are on Disney Plus now, which those were very hard to find for years and years and years. I had to like get a bootleg of Mr. Boogity a long time ago. As a matter of fact, me and Eric, we bonded over how hard it was to find Mr. Boogity. Now you can watch it in all its
Anytime
glory.
you want.
You can watch it on your phone while you're pooping.
It's true.
John Aston, he'll be there.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well,
We did it.
we done did it, y'alls.
So we got one more coming up. Have you confirmed our special guest, Andy?
Yes, I have been talking to him. And I think he's on board.
All right. We're having Ben return.
Oh, yay.
He's from Australia. I don't know. I couldn't tell from the Googles how popular Halloween is in Australia, but we'll discuss it.
Yeah, we want to have his perspective because it's different.
Oh my God. It's upside down.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah,
all of
Halloween is upside down.
Yeah. His Halloween swirls the other way. Okay. You get it? Because like when you flush the toilet there.
I was thinking of a similar thing. I was thinking that their jack-o'-lanterns were just floating the pieces you cut out.
Oh,
and I was like, that's very abstract.
Yeah, Freddy.
I'm not even going to say it out loud. And then I did.
Yeah, you go house to house and give candy to the homeowners.
Oh. In Russia?
In Soviet Russia.
All right. At the end of every show, we always say hi to our Beelzebubs. Again, patreon.com/NOTLP if you want to join our Legion of Demons.
Yep.
Should I do this as Wolfman
Yes.
Jack? Hey, Perez, you get the spooky town of the Alise Kombrinck. We just thought you tottering no pants on the background of Kelley's camera, Amanda Geletko. And this one goes out to Jeremy and Cassie Burmeister from Gomorrah. It's called Thanks for the Milk Bones. I am Mark Watt's biggest fan. Happy Halloween, Mark. Blake Heath is surfing safari. Bill Farner is enjoying the bright lights of Broadway with Neil Carter's ghost this Halloween. Tree and Alex McNulty. I understand how people get throat cancer now. Iona Goodwin.
I own a great one.
Jeff Lancaster. That reminds me of my Stratocaster electric guitar that I like to pound out rock and roll tunes on Halloween with. Branan and Emily Whitehead. Pizza pie. How about Adam Ingram enjoy a slice with Bill Chandler?
Get some water.
Monica Martinson. I'm dying here. Blayne Turner. Happy Halloween. I hope you don't raise any demons. Kevin Korpi. That sounds like corpse. Spooky. That's my reminder to give my dogs their flea medicine. I'm Wolfman Jack. Also, Alyssa, you live up in spooky New England town.
Don't raise any witches.
Don't raise any manner of dead. My voice will never be the same.
You can stop now.
Oh,
Have a sip of
Wolfman
water.
Jack.
No, that's his voice now, Amy.
Oh, no.
Man, that'd be horrible.
Can I find that attractive? Probably.
Figure it out.
I'll figure it out. I'll just deafen myself.
How many cigarettes do you think he had to smoke a day?
He probably never smoked a day in his life.
Yeah.
He was born sounding like that. That's how he cried.
It's a reflux issue. The acid will bubble up and then cause hoarseness. I get it all the time.
Did you know that Tom Waits said when he started his musical career, that was like a put on until he destroyed and now he actually sounds like that. He said when he was a young man, he always wanted to be an old man. I guess
that sounds about right.
Yeah, for people to take him seriously, I guess was the whole thing. He goes, and then he made that his reality. I don't know if he's like super happy about it or not. I love his voice.
I do too.
But if you ever listen to old recordings like Old 55, before he destroyed his vocal cords, he had like a really nice singing voice, like in a traditional sense.
Yeah,
but no,
interesting.
He's one of a kind.
He is a one of a kind. He's a treasure.
He is a treasure.
Every one of you listeners, you're one of a kind and a treasure.
Mm-hmm. You're all Tom Waits.
That blanket statement applies to each and every unique one of you.
Yes. You're all different in your own special way. All right, everybody.
All right, y'all.
We
I'm
did
gonna
it.
go eat.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.